information outside of this idea dealing with Black Lives Matter. Right. But let's carry you back to some of the earlier females, Ida Wells Barnett, perhaps some of the people who played females who played significant roles in American history, to indicate that women have always played a significant role in terms of dealing with these issues, and now you are continuing that. Let's do it from that perspective. Talk about it from that perspective, some of what women are doing in reference to this movement.
Right. So I think that there is a public misconception that the Black Lives Matter movement or the modern civil rights movement is centered mainly on Black males, while Black males and their health, I guess, here in America and beyond is very important. I think it's time that we focus and center the female again. In the past, in civil rights movement and even before that, females have always, or women, I'm going to say women, have always played an important role in movements, in social change, fighting for justice and things like that. But the reason why we want to focus women now is because our voices have always kind of been suppressed at the, or for the cause of uplifting the male voice or putting it on a higher value than a woman's voice. But recently I actually saw a lecture, or went to hear a lecture by Diane Nash, who played an important role in the civil rights movement here in Nashville. She actually went and graduated from Fisk and played an important role in the lunch counter sit-ins and things. And she was telling us that she walked side by side. She knew MLK, but there were a lot of women and even other Black males who played important, pivotal roles in the civil rights movement and enacting some of the change, like the voters' rights and things like that. But for the sake of having one voice, one face, I guess, their voices were quieted a little bit. So I think that it's important to know that, yes, Black males are being killed, but Black women are being killed and targeted as well as transgender, LGBT, Black youth and adolescents are being targeted as well. So I think that that's something that people need to be more aware of, is that Black lives are being targeted in many ways than just one. And
not only African American youth, but in almost every aspect, and not only because of gun violence and et cetera, but there are also other kinds of policies that help to undermine the health and the welfare of the, and I think you could say something, Pastor, about the prison system in terms of how the system has become overcrowded and in many instances unfair, according to some people in reference to that. And so that's...
You know, Dr. Haney, I too had that misconception concerning the Black Lives Matter movement, you know, as a movement that really, you know, just looked and focused on the killings of African American males out here. And I guess it's easy to get that misconception, to pick that up, because a lot of times it's the murdering of a Black male by a police officer. A lot of times triggers, you know, the movement into action in a situation like that. So with that being done, then you have a tendency to overlook, you know, other things that the Black Lives Matter movement is dealing with, you know, in terms of the women, the involvement of the women, because, you know, as you were saying, you know, and I was thinking as you was talking, so when the male is under attack, then he's so busy having to fight against his attacker that he's leaving the female unprotected and uncovered, and then if he's murdered, then he's taken away from, you know, a position, and it's hurting the female, the woman, and it's hurting also the children.
And that even goes beyond police brutality or murdering, like you mentioned, the prison system or not being able to have access to health care or education. There's many ways that Black lives are affected.
That you can kill a person in many ways outside without using a firearm.
Right.
And I think that's basically.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's another thing. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because again, we focus on that and we think that that's it. But
Right.
when it comes to our health and when it comes, another thing, when it comes to the children, African-American males, not males, it's just African-American children, period, being diagnosed as ADHD, and the parents are being paid for that. And it's almost like selling the children into the school to prison pipeline, because you take a child to school, the teacher can't deal with the child, and a lot of time it may have something to do with the child's home environment. You know, child might not even be getting enough sleep at home, may not be eating well at home, and all kind of things could factor into that. But the only thing is looked at is the child's behavior in school. So they send the child, tell the parent, take the child to the doctor evaluate the child and say, well, this child's got ADHD. So the parent takes a beeline to the Social Security office to get this check, you know, and I'm not understanding why